Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Sunaina Bansal. I am a consultant gynecologist with Cloud9 Hospitals, Chandigarh. And today we will be discussing about cesarean sections. So, in the coming few minutes, we'll try to cover many of the points about cesarean sections. What is a cesarean section? What is it like? Why is it needed? What are the complication advantages, disadvantages? And there are a lot of misconceptions also which are associated with cesarean sections. Like many people feel that there's a backache that persists throughout life if you undergo a cesarean section, or the recovery is very much delayed with a cesarean section, or the breastfeeding is not possible after cesarean section. So, in the coming few minutes, we'll discuss about all these misconceptions also and understand a little more about what the surgery is like. So, first of all, what is a cesarean section? We in fact call it a lower segment cesarean section, or LSCS. What does a lower segment cesarean section mean? Lower segment cesarean section means that the cut on your uterus is given in the lowermost part of the uterus, from where we will deliver the baby. So that's why we call it a lower segment cesarean section. Nowadays, upper segment cesarean sections are almost obsolete. They are not done because they are associated with a lot of complications and heavy bleeding. So, most of the cesarean sections that are done are lower segment cesarean sections because they are safer. And what exactly happens in a cesarean section is an anesthesia is given to you. After the anesthesia, when the lower part of the body becomes numb, we give a cut on your skin. First of all, it is a bikini cut which is very near to the hairline, and then we cut the deeper layers of the abdomen and finally reach the uterus. Then a small cut is given over the lower segment of the uterus and it is extended and the baby is delivered. After that, the cut is stitched back and the abdominal layers are also stitched back. And after a few minutes of observation in the operation theatre, you are shifted to your room. So, why do we need a cesarean section? Most of the times, many people would deliver vaginally, or we call it a normal delivery. But why do some people sometimes need a cesarean section? So, the reasons for cesarean sections could be many. There are two types of cesarean section. One is a planned cesarean section, and another is an emergency cesarean section. A planned cesarean section is a surgery which we do in a planned way. That is, we know that we have to do the surgery at a particular time and the day, and we would not want you to go into labor. We will already plan that you will deliver by a surgical method or by the cesarean. So why is sometimes a planned surgical delivery or a planned cesarean needed? A planned cesarean is needed because we don't want either you to suffer because of the labor, or we don't want the baby to suffer because of the labor. For maternal, for you, sometimes what problems would the mothers be having that they would be needing a cesarean section? Sometimes the mothers have some uncompensated kinds of heart diseases or lung diseases. When we don't want them to go into labor and we don't want to give them that stress of labor pains, because that can decompensate their disease. In those cases, we might sometimes advise that it is better for the mother to straight away go for a planned surgical delivery. Sometimes it is because of the baby that we might advise you to go for a planned cesarean. Why would it be needed for a baby? Because the baby might be having some problems. Either the baby is too small, the baby's weight is low, and the baby's growth potential is not adequate, and these babies are already stressed out inside the womb, and we find that these babies would not be able to tolerate the stress of labor. Sometimes the babies may be quite big, their weight might be a little on the higher side, and we know that these babies would not be able to deliver vaginally. In those cases also, sometimes we might need a cesarean section. Sometimes the position of the baby is not appropriate for a normal vaginal delivery, like the baby could be upside down, we call it a breech, or the baby could be horizontal, transverse lie. In such cases, sometimes the vaginal delivery is not possible or it could be risky. So we will advise you a cesarean section well in advance. Sometimes there could be some maternal infections in the vagina, because of which it is not advisable that baby should come out through the vaginal canal. One of them is a viral infection to the mother, we call it herpes. So if the mother has active genital herpes, we would advise that it is not good for the baby to be delivered vaginally, because the baby would be contaminated by vaginal fluids. So it is better to take out the baby by a cesarean section. Sometimes the water around the baby is not adequate. The water around the baby acts as a cushion against the stresses of labor. It protects the baby from the compression of labor and uterine contraction. So if the water is not adequate around the baby, then again it could be one of the reasons why you would need a planned cesarean section. Sometimes the baby is not receiving, because of many reasons the baby sometimes don't receive adequate blood flow from the mother. We sometimes detect it through a test called Doppler, ultrasound Doppler, in which we find that the blood flow going to the baby's organs is not adequate, and such babies could be under stress, and in such cases you might need a planned cesarean section. So here we would not like you to go into labor, and we will decide a particular day and we will call you 2 hours prior to the surgery, and we will safely deliver you with a cesarean section and take the baby out. So what is an emergency cesarean section? And an emergency cesarean section is one in which we haven't made any plans for a cesarean section. You will go into a normal labor with the onset of labor pains. You will come to the hospital, and the progress of labor would occur, and you will start developing more stronger contractions. But then, because of certain reasons, as an emergency, we might have to deliver the baby by a cesarean section. What are those reasons? Sometimes the baby's heart rate that starts fluctuating. Either it goes very high or it goes very low, or there are a lot of severe fluctuations in the heart rate, which are a red flag sign. And we know either there is a cord compression inside, or the baby is not being able to tolerate the stress of labor. In such cases, we might need an emergency cesarean. Sometimes the babies pass potty inside. We call it a meconium stained liquor. So if they pass meconium inside and there is a lot of time to delivery, sometimes we might have to deliver the baby in an emergency, because that meconium may settle down in the baby's lungs and create problems later on. We cannot really wait for a long period of time after the baby has passed meconium. In those cases, again, we might sometimes need an emergency cesarean. And thirdly, when the labor pains have started, but the progress of labor is not occurring because of certain reasons, either the mouth of the uterus is not opening, the cervix is not dilating, or the head of the baby is not coming down. There could be many reasons for this. Either the passage is narrow, or the head of the baby is not in a proper position as it should be. So the head of the baby, in spite of good contractions, the head would not come down. So these are certain indications when we might need an emergency cesarean after the onset of labor pains. So I would also like to discuss about something about various misconceptions which are prevalent about cesarean sections. One of them is, many people ask that if we undergo a cesarean section, we will develop a backache for lifetime, and the injection that is given during the anesthesia for cesarean section, that will keep on creating problems. So here I would like to tell that it is a misconception. The anesthesia injection or the spinal anesthesia that is given to you before the cesarean, that does not lead to any kind of chronic backache or any kind of prolonged pain at the site of injection. People who develop backache is because they would develop it anyway. They would develop it after vaginal delivery also. They would develop it after a cesarean section also. Back pain after the pregnancies is mainly because of a wrong posture, back posture, weak back muscles, which we do not have time to rehabilitate or strengthen. And then because of certain wrong postures, the back muscles go into a spasm, and then they lead to a chronic kind of pain. So unless we address it through exercises and proper stretchings, the back would always keep on paining. So it can happen even after a normal delivery or after a cesarean section, and it is not at all because of the injection that is given during the cesarean section. Then there is another misconception that many people ask, that I'll not be able to breastfeed the baby after undergoing a surgery. So again, this is a misconception. Breast milk production does not depend upon whether you have delivered vaginally or you have delivered by a cesarean section. breast milk production would happen in the same way. It is only that because of the surgery, for the first day or first 2 days, you might not be that comfortable getting up or making a proper position to breastfeed the baby. So the first 2 days could be a little problematic in terms of pain and in terms of your mobility, and which could lead to a little restricted kind of breastfeeding to the baby also. But then usually beyond day 3, as the breast milk amount also increases and as you get a little more active, so there's no problem associated with breastfeedings. So again, then there is a question that the recovery is delayed with the cesarean section. So again, the long time recovery is not delayed. The first day or the first 2 days can be a little more cumbersome as compared to a vaginal delivery, because there's a cut on the abdomen and it pains a little, because when you take turns or when you try to get up or when you are changing your positions, the abdominal muscles contract and they give rise to a little pain. So first 2 days are a little bothersome, but as you start moving from day 1 onwards and as you move on the second day, third day is quite comfortable, and you are able to, your recovery beyond the third day is as good as a normal vaginal delivery. So recovery period is also not delayed, and you do not require any special kind of rest or special kind of immobilization after your cesarean section. So coming to what are the advantages and disadvantages of a cesarean section. Advantages, we know advantages of a cesarean section is, okay, we take out the baby safely, there is no stress of the labor that is given to the baby. Secondly, the mothers don't experience any kind of pain, so it is a painless kind of procedure. And thirdly, obviously, because the baby does not come out vaginally, so there is no stress on there is no wear and tear or weakening of the pelvic floor muscles or bladder or the rectum. So all these organs are a little spared as compared to a vaginal delivery. Disadvantages of cesarean section, though it is usually a very well tolerated and a very safe kind of procedure, but again, any kind of surgical procedure has its own set of complications or disadvantages. So one of them is an increased blood loss as compared to a normal delivery. So we expect that the blood loss in a cesarean section, in a normal cesarean section, could be somewhere between 800 to 1000 ml. Then as your abdomen is opened, so in any surgery the abdomen would be opened, so that increases the chances of you getting infections in terms of abdominal infections or any organ infections, the chances of that increases. Then because it is a surgical delivery and there is a cut on the uterus, and there are a lot of other organs which are lying very nearby, like the bladder or the ureters or the rectum. Sometimes there can be injury to some organs, adjacent organs, which might create some problems later on. And fourthly, if it is a primary cesarean section, if you are undergoing cesarean for the first time, and then we talk about the second pregnancy. In second pregnancy, because of the previous cesarean section, you can develop certain complications, like because of the scar, the developing placenta can be badly adherent to the scar. We call it placenta accreta. That can lead to a heavy bleeding during the second delivery, and sometimes it can really get complicated and you might need a removal of the uterus during the second surgery. The chances of developing bladder injuries during a second cesarean, that also increases, because sometimes the bladders, they get really adherent over the scar, and we might need to separate them by sharp dissections, or injuries can also occur. So all these complications can occur after a cesarean section, but by far and large it is usually a very safe procedure. So we'll try to take some questions now. So we have first question from Kulpreet, and she's asking what type of anesthesia will be used during the procedure. So we call it a local anesthesia or a spinal anesthesia, in which an injection is given in your lower back, and this injection will basically sedate you. It will basically numb your lower body, including the abdomen and the legs. It is very safe as compared to a general anesthesia, in which your whole body gets numb and you undergo sedation. So spinal anesthesia is very safe for the mother as well as for the baby. So nowadays most of the cesarean sections would be performed under a spinal or an epidural anesthesia, in which injections are given in the back, and these are the types of local anesthesias. Tanya has a question: how is the procedure performed? So I covered it earlier also. After the anesthesia, once we make sure that your body is numb and your abdomen is numb, and after taking adequate antiseptic precautions, we will give a cut on the skin. This cut is very low down, very near to your pubic hairline. We call it a bikini cut. And then we gradually open the abdomen in layers and reach your uterus. So the lowermost part of the uterus is, we give a cut on the lowermost part of the uterus, and the baby is delivered. After the delivery of the baby, the placenta is taken out, and then the uterus is stitched back. After stitching back of the uterus and ensuring that the uterus is in its proper place and tone of the uterus is good, then we start stitching the layers of the abdomen one by one. And after the surgery is over, you are shifted to your room after a stay of 1 or 2 hours in the recovery room, and rest of the procedure will cover ahead. Samina asks, what are the complications of a cesarean section? I have already covered that. The complications can be in terms of increased rates of infection or heavy vaginal bleeding. So all these things can occur. So Kaur is asking, what should I expect after the procedure? Okay, Kaur, so this is a good question. After the procedure, as I told you, you will be shifted to your room after 2 hours. So in another 4 to 6 hours of the surgery, we will start giving you something orally, which will start with liquids and then gradually shift to a semi-solid kind of diet. You will be on your IV fluids, intravenous fluids, for about 24 hours after the surgery, and then we'll gradually shift you to oral medications. Within 12 to 24 hours of the surgery, we will remove your catheter and we will make you mobilize also. You will move about and take a walk, go and pass urine, and usually by 24 hours post surgery, you are in a position to, you'll be eating well, you'll be walking around, and you'll be, breastfeeding the baby. So these are this is how the procedure goes. Tina is asking, how long will I need to recover? So Tina, as I told earlier also, recovery for a day or two after the cesarean section might be a little bothersome because there's a pain associated with your abdominal muscle contraction. So whenever you try to move, you might feel a little pain, though we do keep on giving you painkillers. So otherwise, after those 2 days, recovery is not at all a problem. You will start moving about, you will start taking care of yourself and the baby. So recovery is quick after a cesarean section also, in the same way as it is after a normal vaginal delivery. So Shilpa asks, what helps with recovery? Okay, so that's a good question. So first of all, a lot of positive attitude is required after a cesarean section to come back to your normal shape and normal stamina after the surgery. So sometimes what happens is, there are people around who might keep on telling you that, okay, you have undergone a cesarean section, you should take more rest, you should not get up from the bed, or you might develop some stitch complications if you are moving about a lot after the cesarean section. So there's nothing like that. The stitches nowadays are very, very safe, and they would not break whatever way you move, whatever you do. So we advise that you start moving about quick after a surgery, as soon as possible and as frequently as possible. So the more you walk, the more you move about, the more you take turns, the abdominal muscles start regaining their normal tone, and there's a lot of blood flow that goes to the abdominal muscles, and the recovery is very quick. So few things that will help with an early recovery is a positive psychology, a lot of walking around, and keeping a very good hydration, because that is also very important. Hydration is very important for your muscular recovery. So these are few things that will help you with the recovery. So Rita is asking, what should I expect during recovery? Okay, so during recovery for the first 2-3 days, you should expect a lot of pain. Even in spite of taking painkillers, you will experience a pain in your muscles when you are trying to take turns, or when you are trying to get up, or when you are laughing or sneezing or coughing. So the abdominal muscles contract and there's a lot of pain. So you should expect this, but then you will have to overcome the pain a little and then try to walk more, because the more you walk, the pain will disappear and you'll you'll start feeling better in terms of the contraction pain that you are getting. So this is something that you can expect during recovery. So Poonam is asking, is there any bad effect to a baby delivered by cesarean section? Poonam, there is no bad effect to a baby that is delivered by a cesarean section. The babies are safe. And so we have a question from Payal. She has a question regarding the movements and heartbeat of the baby. I am 26 weeks, 5 days pregnant, first time mom, overweight with anterior position placenta. Earlier I had a doubt about baby's movements I wasn't able to recognize, but now I feel jerks in my lower abdomen actively. And also I can feel heartbeat in the lower stomach. Is it baby's heartbeat? I am very much confused, and also I would like to know, when will I get to know if I'll have a C-sec or a normal delivery? Does weight also decide C-sec delivery? Okay, Payal, so it's a very nice question. First of all, what you feel, the jerks that you feel in your lower abdomen are not the baby's heartbeats. They are the baby's movements. The baby moves. It moves its limbs. It kicks, and sometimes the baby completely takes a it topples over. It keeps on floating inside the water bag. So the flutters or the jerks that you feel in the lower abdomen are because of the baby's movements. And since now you are in your 27th week of pregnancy, the uterus and the baby are a little lower down. So as the pregnancy advances, the uterus would grow upwards, the size of the baby would also increase, and then slowly and gradually you will start feeling movements a little up over the abdomen, over your navel. So slowly the location of the movements will keep changing. And whether you will get a C-sec or a normal delivery, it's too early to say, because the position of the baby, the growth of the baby, the liquor around the baby, everything would be checked in the last month of the pregnancy. And if everything is normal, if the baby's liquor is normal, baby's position is normal, the weight is normal, and if you are not having any kind of complications, so we always wait for a spontaneous onset of labor pains for the vaginal delivery. So weight, I wouldn't say weight really decides C-sec delivery. Maternal weight is not something that would decide a C-sec delivery, though people who are very obese, in them the chances of cesarean section deliveries have been found to be increased. But otherwise, the weight would not decide whether you would undergo a cesarean section or a vaginal delivery. In fact, we want that people who have an excessive weight, they should undergo a vaginal delivery. That will help in early recovery and also prevent a lot of complications that are associated with a cesarean section in overweight people. So we want them to deliver vaginally. So we always make sure that these people should deliver vaginally. So we have next question, is spinal anesthesia painful? So spinal anesthesia is just an injection that is given in the back, and it will be, the pain would be only that much as you experience during while taking a sample, an intravenous sample that you normally give during pregnancy for a lot of tests. So, and most of the times your anesthetist will give a local anesthesia to numb your skin prior to giving a spinal injection. So that takes care of much of the discomfort. So it's more about fear of the injection rather than actual pain that happens. The actual pain is very, very less, and one must not fear or be anxious about the pain of the spinal anesthesia. So we have a few more questions. So we have another question from Ambika. Ambika asks, when will the periods regularize? Mine 8 months post C-sec delivery, still breastfeeding on demand, haven't got my periods yet. So Ambika, it is we call this as lactational amenorrhea. So till you are breastfeeding your baby, sometimes your periods might remain suspended, and that is perfectly normal and natural. That is just because your hormonal axis has not yet started working because of the breastfeeding hormones. So some people might experience an amenorrhea for 8 months, 10 months, or maybe an year also, depending upon how regularly you are breastfeeding the baby. So it is perfectly okay, and you can wait for another 2-3 months for periods to arrive. But side by side, make sure that ovulation can occur anytime you might pregnancy is possible. So make sure that you're using some form of contraception while you are breastfeeding, and even if you haven't got your periods. So Bella has a question: allergic rhinitis can affect cesarean section? uh, no Bella, allergic rhinitis does not in any way affect cesarean section. Neha Anand has a question. I had a C-sec on 8th April. When can I start yoga or mild exercises? What should be the ideal food after C-sec to avoid fat accumulation? So, Neha, that's a good question. So, exercises are very important for a postpartum, post-delivery rehabilitation, whether you have undergone a vaginal delivery or you have undergone a cesarean section. In a vaginal delivery, you can start with your yoga and exercises as soon as 6 weeks of your delivery, and for a cesarean section we would like to wait for about 2 months post cesarean when you can start your exercises. So in the meanwhile, like these 6 to 8 weeks after your delivery, you shouldn't be really sedentary. You should be moving about, you should be walking, you should be doing brisk walks, you should be moving your upper body, taking care of your neck muscles, taking care of your shoulder muscles, upper body muscles. And after 6 to 8 weeks, depending upon whether you've had a vaginal delivery or a cesarean section, you can start with your yoga exercises and gradually increase them. Start gradually and then proceed to more strenuous kind of exercises. What should be the ideal food after C-sec to avoid fat accumulation? Mm, Post delivery is not a time when you should be thinking about dieting or avoiding nutritious foods. So you will need calorie rich foods, because around you need extra 500 to 600 calories while you are breastfeeding. So that is for the milk formation and for the adequate growth of the baby. So you must not be thinking about dieting or avoiding calorie dense foods. So but yes, any kind of junk foods, any kind of excessive sugars, excessive fats, all these things should be avoided. You should take a lot of milk, lot of proteins, and fats in certain amount as well. So fat accumulation would usually not occur if you are active, and if you are breastfeeding your baby, that also helps a lot in your weight loss, shedding of your the weight that you have gained. So breastfeeding is very important. This is one of the advantage of breastfeeding, that it will help you to come back to your normal pre-pregnancy weight very quickly. So Dimpy has a question: alarmingly high cesarean section rate, what is the solution? So again, a very question, but a nice question and a very tricky one. So high cesarean section rates are because of a lot of contributing factors. One of them is increasing age at which women conceive nowadays, which increases the chances of mothers and babies both developing certain kind of complications. So initially, the most of the pregnancies, if we talk about maybe 20 or 30 years down the lane, or maybe earlier than that, most of the pregnancies would happen in the age group of 20 to 25 years of age, or earlier than 30. But now this has shifted. We are a decade later now. So most of the pregnancies would occur after the age of 30. So that increases the chances of complications, all kind of complications, obstetric complications, be it maternal complications in terms of mothers developing high blood pressures, diabetes, or be it terms of fetal problems like babies not growing up to their full potential, they not developing adequate water around them, or certain kind of problems with the blood flows. So or preterm labor, all these things, they increase after the age of 30. One of the very common reasons why we have more complicated pregnancies now. Then secondly, the second reason is the westernization of our lifestyle. So we all are now, we have a sedentary lifestyle, so we're sitting most of the days. In earlier times, or maybe 20 years down the lane, so women used to work at the kitchens or in their homes in a squatting position. They used to sit down, and that led to widening of the pelvic joints. But now we are, most of the times we are sitting on the beds or we are sitting on the chairs, and that leads to a stiffness of the pelvic joints. We are not that flexible, the joints are not that flexible. So that is also one of the reasons why the progress of the labor would not occur that way, or why the head of the baby would not come that down. So this is also one of the reasons why the rates of cesarean sections are increasing. And many people now, earlier people did not have an option, they had to undergo a vaginal delivery, they had to undergo the pains of the labor. But now many a times young women, they don't want to undergo the pains, they wish for a cesarean section on demand. and or they are not that tolerant to pains, and many a times they give up and they would not like to go ahead with a further trial of labor pains. So that is also one of the reasons. And I think one of the ways that cesarean sections can be avoided, again, that question is about to come. One of the ways that cesarean section can be avoided is to be very, very active throughout your pregnancy. Through your pregnancy and in fact pre-pregnancy, if it is possible. So if you are exercising regularly, especially if you are stretching your joints and your ligaments, so that makes a lot of difference in terms of your chances of undergoing a normal vaginal delivery. So continue with your exercises during your pregnancy also. So that is very important. And another thing is obviously taking a good diet and making sure you are taking your supplements so that the baby's growth potential is not affected, baby grows well. So this is also very important in terms of trying to avoid a cesarean section. Okay, so another question from Arohi is asking, when can we have a second child after C-sec delivery? Arohi, we should wait for minimum 2 years to let your body recover from the deficiencies that have arisen because of the first pregnancy. So you can plan a cesarean section after 2 years of your first C-sec delivery. So what is a laser C-sections, Tanvi? Tanvi, there's nothing called as laser C-section. So we have a question from Poonam. Are there any studies about the effect of corticosteroids before elective CS at term? So yes, Poonam, it is nowadays recommended that corticosteroids be given before a planned cesarean section. If we are doing it before 38 weeks, we do give corticosteroids and it is beneficial for the baby. So Lipsa has a question about retained foreign bodies after previous cesarean sections. So Lipsa, we as doctors, we always try to make sure we do not leave any foreign bodies during a cesarean section, and that is something that is um, not pardonable. So we really take a lot of care that nothing of that sort happens. So in fact, we cross check it 2 or 3 times. All our counts are normal. So there is no question why someone would leave a retained foreign body inside the body. So, hi doctor, will there always be a paunch or bulge because of the cut and the stitches of the C-section? Ambika, no, uh, it is not necessary. The paunch or bulge would stay because the abdominal muscles have really become very weak during the pregnancy. They have been stretched and they'll be now be bulging out because the baby has come out, but the abdominal muscles are still protuberant. They are just bulging out. So if you want to work on that, you'll have to specifically work on toning up your abdominal muscles and re-strengthening them. And most of the times women after delivery, they get busy with their with the newborn kids and they don't find time for the exercises or for toning up their abdominal muscles. So if you specifically work on the abdominal muscles, it wouldn't stay. You can reshape them, you can retone them after the pregnancy, whether it's a normal delivery or a cesarean section. Again, it is a misconception that after the cesarean section the bulge would remain. It's nothing like that. It can happen with a vaginal delivery also, and you can take care in both the cases. You can take care of the bulge. So Rupa has another question: what causes shoulder pain after cesarean section and spinal anesthesia in females? So sometimes there's a shoulder pain after the cesarean section because we open the abdomen and some air enters inside the abdominal cavity, which can irritate the diaphragm, which leads to sometimes leads to a shoulder pain after the surgery. But that is a transient kind of pain, and it is not something to be worried about, and it will go on its own. That is perfectly okay to experience shoulder pain. We have a question from Shilpa. How should uterine incision be selected in the third cesarean section? Okay, Shilpa, so uterine incision selection will depend upon what you encounter in the patient when you open up the lady for a cesarean section. As you open the abdominal layers, so it is very much possible that even if it is a third cesarean section, uh, the bladder is perfectly in place, there are no adhesions, and you can place the uterine incision at the desired place. But if you feel that the in a third cesarean section the bladder is adherent or there are certain other kind of adhesions, so you will definitely try to avoid any kind of sharp dissections or separating the bladder a lot of way down to approach very down to reach the uterine incision. So you can take a high uterine incision and deliver the baby, a high uterine incision placed in the lower uterine segment. That will be really safe. Saida has a question. Hi doctor, can you elaborate to identify labor pain and when is the ideal time to get it? So there is no ideal time to get a labor pain. Mostly your Saida, your labor pains would start after 37 completed weeks of gestation. So labor pains are very different from the pains that you keep on experiencing throughout pregnancy, which are usually muscular pains or pressure associated pains. Labor pain is a kind of contraction, a uterine contraction that will come for a minute. For 1 minute your uterus will contract and you will have a lot of pain, maybe in the lower abdomen or in the lower back. It can go to the vagina also, and then after this 1 minute of contraction the uterus relaxes and there is no pain for another 10-15 minutes. And then again after another 10-15 minutes you will get another uterine contraction and you will experience a similar kind of pain for 1 minute in your lower abdomen or your lower back, and again after that 1 minute the uterus would relax. So such kind of episodic contractile pains are an indication that your labor might be about to start, and these are the kind of pains, the way you can identify what a labor pain is. So Janvi has a question, why would a cesarean section be better for your baby than a vaginal birth? A cesarean section is better for the baby because the baby is not exposed to the stresses of labor pains, though it is something natural for the baby to experience, and vaginal births would not give rise to any complications as such to the baby because it is a natural way to deliver. So but in some certain kind of complications, especially if the baby is underweight or if the baby is not deriving adequate potential from the blood flow from the mother, or if the liquor around the baby is not adequate, in such cases it is always safe for the baby to be delivered by a cesarean section, because the pains of vaginal delivery can give more stress to the baby and the baby can develop some deficiencies of oxygen, so it is safe for the baby. Hemavati has a question, what are the benefits of waiting until labor begins? So Hemavati, there are a lot of benefits for waiting until labor begins. If you do not have any complication, if the baby is absolutely fine, the liquor is normal, the position of the baby is fine, we will always wait for spontaneous labor pains to begin, because that will avoid any kind of unnecessary intervention, any kind of unnecessary surgical procedures. So any time a lady goes into a spontaneous labor on her own, she has more chances of delivering vaginally as compared to ladies who undergo an induction of labor or an induction of artificial pain. So it is always better to wait for a normal onset of labor pains. Bharti has a question. Her BMI is 29. She's suffering from PCOS. Are there any chances of complications while planning a baby or any other things to take care of? So Bharti, I would suggest this is the right time that to address all these things, not when you are not yet pregnant, rather than thinking about all this after conceiving. So you know that your BMI is a little on the higher side, you have PCOS. So right now the one thing that you must do or you must take care of while you are thinking about planning a baby is to reduce your weight, because if your weight is ideal while conceiving, it will prevent a lot of complications to you and to the developing fetus. Any kind of overweight, any kind of excessive weight during pregnancy can definitely lead to certain complications. So please reduce your weight before you actually plan. Take 3 months or 6 months. Even a 10% reduction in weight would really help you. And any other things to take care of? Yes, before planning a conception, at least 2 months prior to planning, you must start taking folic acid, and definitely a good, healthy, balanced, nutritious diet you should be taking. While even if you are going to plan after 6 months, start doing that right now, because what you are eating right now will eventually affect all the cellular processes three months down the line. So make sure you are eating well, you are exercising well, you are not taking any kind of stress. So these are certain things you can take care of and try to reduce your weight definitely. And Namita has a question: why do they believe your baby to be large? That is okay. That's an interesting question. So it depends upon the obstetrician's experience. Your doctors can examine you from outside and they can have a little idea about the weight of the baby, and but the actual confirmation can be made with the help of an ultrasound, because ultrasound gives us a good prediction about the weight of the baby. So that is how it is. So it depends upon your doctor's experience. So Megha has a question: in 29 weeks pregnancy, cord is seen around fetal neck, single loop. So okay, so Megha, first of all, in a 29-week pregnancy, if we find a single loop of cord around the fetal neck, we really don't have to do much, because there are very high chances that the loop might get disentangled as the baby moves, as the baby grows. So even if the loop stays at 36 or 37 weeks, and mostly these loops, single loops, are usually loose kind of loops, and they would not decide our management about the mode of delivery, whether you would undergo a vaginal delivery or a cesarean section. So a single loop is not something to worry about. In fact, we encounter it in very commonly in the ultrasounds. So the loop arises from the baby's abdomen and wraps around the neck of the baby and is attached to the placenta. So it is also possible that the loop is not complete, so we don't have to worry much, though we keep a caution when you go into labor pains. We keep on checking the baby's heart rate, so as to make sure that there is no compression because of the loop around neck. Supraja is asking, can you delay the decision about a cesarean? Again, it's a very generalized question, Supraja. So a decision about delaying a cesarean would depend upon what is the scenario right at that moment of time, whether there is an emergency to deliver the baby, or if there is no emergency, you can always wait for a week or 2 weeks, depending upon what stage of gestation you are in. So you can always decide the timing of a cesarean section with your obstetrician or your doctor, and if it is permissible, you can definitely delay the cesarean section. Supraja is also asking, is there any option other than a cesarean? So the other option, if the baby has to be delivered, there are only two options: a vaginal delivery or a cesarean section. So you can always decide. Again, it is a two-way discussion. You can always decide about the mode of delivery with your doctor and make an informed decision. What is the best way of delivering for you? What are the advantages and disadvantages in your case if you undergo a vaginal delivery or if you undergo a cesarean section? And then you can make an informed decision depending upon your individual case. Julie is asking, what are my chances of having an emergency cesarean section? So Julie, this again depends upon it's very individual. So if you're having any kind of, if your age is more than 35, if you are a first time mother, if you have any maternal complications like a high blood pressure or high sugar levels, if your baby's weight is not adequate or the baby is not in a right position, then the chances of having an emergency cesarean section, they increase. But if everything is fine, so, and especially if you are first time mother, so there are about 80% chances that you would deliver vaginally. Meenu is asking, how long does a cesarean section take? A cesarean section would roughly take about 45 to 60 minutes. So we have another question. When can I drive after a cesarean section? So Poonam, you can drive after about 6 weeks of a cesarean section. You can drive a little earlier also, depending upon how well you recover and how active you are after your cesarean section. And Ipsita is asking, how do I best take care of my incision after a cesarean section? So Ipsita, most of the times your incision would be covered when they send you home on the third or fourth day of the cesarean section. So there would be a dressing, and you don't really have to do much about the dressing, and after a week or so the doctor might take out the dressing. And now once the scar is exposed after the dressing has been taken out, so you just have to take care. You can always keep on inspecting your incision to make sure there is no redness or any sign of infection on the stitch line. You can try to keep it dry. It shouldn't be wet because the area is such that a lot of perspiration can accumulate there. So try to keep it dry. Take a bath every day. You can apply some coconut oil, which takes care of the normal itching that happens around the cesarean section, and it keeps the area supple and soft. So these are certain ways you can take care of your incision. So Pravina is asking, when can I have sex after a C-section? So maybe after a month or so it is permissible. So Pravleen is asking who can be in the operating room with me. So Pravleen, again, this you'll have to check with your local hospital where you are planning to deliver. Sometimes they would allow your attendant or your husband to be with you in the operating room, and in some hospitals there's a protocol that they might not allow your partner to be with you while in the operating room. So you can check with your individual hospitals. So another question, will I be shaved before surgery? Kanti, not really. A shaving is not required before surgery, but in certain hospitals there's a protocol for a routine shaving before the surgery. So you can check with your hospital people. And Somi, will I be strapped down? Yes. For the surgery to be performed, we have to expose the abdomen and the area beneath that, your legs, to give the incision. So, and before starting a cesarean section, we would like to use an antiseptic over your abdomen and your thighs, so as to make sure that the area where we operate upon is completely infection free. So for that you'll be strapped down, and then we apply the antiseptic ointment to douche or to clean your skin, and then we put the sheets to cover your abdomen and your legs. So that is how a cesarean is performed. Supraja, what is the recovery time? Recovery time is quick after a cesarean. Within 24 hours you'll be moving about, and again, if you are walking adequately, within 2 or 3 days you'll be able to climb stairs and move about a lot in the lobby of the hospital, and so recovery time is less. It's not that you need a lot of recovery time after a cesarean section. Shrusti is asking, can I eat before the surgery? Shrusti, we do not recommend anything. We do not recommend any solids to be taken by you at least 6 hours prior to your surgery. So you will not be able to eat for 6 hours prior to your surgery time, and but till 2 hours before your surgery you can be taking clear liquids like water or lemon water or coconut water that you can have. Smriti is asking, where will my incision be? So Smriti, the incision is very lower down, very near to your pubic hairline, and we call it a bikini incision, and it's usually not seen after the scar is usually not visualized. Sujala, how is my wound going to be closed up? So Sujala, there are a lot of ways to close up the wound. Sometimes the doctors would take interrupted sutures. These sutures need to be removed after about a week's time, and sometimes the doctors might take absorbable sutures. These sutures do not need to be removed after a week, and they get absorbed on their own. And some few of the doctors might take staplers to close down your wound, which again need to be removed after a week's time. So you can check with your doctor prior what is the common mode of closure of skin that they utilize. What we should apply on our stretch marks after delivery, Rabia? Stretch marks after delivery, the stretch marks would gradually tone down. They will gradually get faded and lighten up, and you can apply any kind of moisturizer, emollients on your stretch marks. It could be something as simple as coconut oil or cocoa butter, olive oil, or any kind of normal stretch marks cream which have available over the counter. They have intense moisturizers, and they will take care of your lightening up of your stretch marks. Nupur is asking, can I hold my baby in the operating room? Yes, Nupur, you can hold your baby in the operating room, and you should talk about this with your obstetrician and your pediatricians prior, if they allow that. So and you can request holding your baby, so you can always do that. So friends, I think that was all. These were the questions. We tried to cover most of the parts about cesarean section. If you still have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section and we'll try to answer them. By far and large, cesarean section is a very safe surgery, and many people have a fear about the injection or about the procedure or about the recovery. So cesarean section is not something to be dreaded about. It is as safe as a normal vaginal delivery, and a cesarean section would be performed only if it is important for you, only if it is important for the baby. So in case your doctor decides that a cesarean section is needed for you, please go ahead with the decision. And if you want to avoid a cesarean section, which is something which you must really work upon, because a normal and a natural delivery is always the best for you also and for the baby also. So please attend a lot of childbirth preparation classes. Try to take a good diet. Try to be very, very active during your pregnancy. Pregnancy is not a time when you should be, it's not a disease. It is not a time when you should be, resting the whole day or lying down in the bed. So enjoy your pregnancy. Be very, very active. Be very, very happy. Don't take any kind of stress during your pregnancy, because any kind of fear, anxiety, any kind of depression or a low mood or an irritated mood, all these kind of negative hormones, they really affect the developing baby and the growth of the baby. So make sure you stay positive throughout your pregnancy and take a good care of yourself in terms of your diet, in terms of your exercises, and in terms of your breathing techniques, your meditation, your mental health, and being and learning more about the process of labor. How is it going to be, how, what all would happen during the actual process of labor, and that will make you aware, and that will keep you free from any kind of fears and any kind of anxiety about that phase of labor pains. And that will really help you to cope up with the labor pains and undergo a normal vaginal delivery. So uh, wish all of you great luck, and happy parenting to all of you. Goodbye.